Hi, Mark Satterfield here. Thanks so much for joining me. Kind of a rainy day here in Pinehurst. Hope it's better where you are. But want to talk to you a little bit today about sales and selling. Now, I don't know what your personal belief is or your personal comfort level is with face-to-face selling, but I'm in the camp, I just don't like it. The whole idea of trying to convince somebody to hire me, to use my services, it just leaves me cold. I've gone through most everybody's sales training program. Lord knows I have tried, but it just doesn't work for me. And I think the reason it doesn't, and perhaps you can relate to this, is because when I go into quote unquote sales mode, uh, I don't feel like I'm being my authentic self. I don't feel like I'm communicating with my authentic voice. And as a result, it all comes across as terribly false. And ultimately, as I've mentioned previously, this all gets down to the classic concepts of know, like, and trust. Our prospective clients have to get to know us, which means that we've got to be visible within the world that they exist. They've got to trust us, and that's the credibility piece. And they got to like us. And liking us is that authentic voice. They have to be able to say themselves that, yeah, hey, this is somebody I want to work with. And when I go into sales mode, I kind of lose that. And maybe you're the same situation. But I realized this pretty early on. And as a result, I think it's one of the reasons why I became a marketer. Because if you do this right, you really don't have to actually sell anybody on using your services. So, the way that the process works, what I have found works well, it's worked well for me, worked well for my clients, and hopefully it will work well for you, is to really think about massive content distribution. So when we talk about content, what I'm talking about is focusing on content that addresses the concerns or the issues that people have about hiring you. So let's think about what they are. Well, number one is credibility. Can you do what it is that I want you to do? The other tends to be complexity. This just sounds terribly complex. I don't know if I really want to do that. And then third, of course, is price. Now, there's probably some other things, but let's start with those. So the credibility one is easily addressed with content. If your content is put out with the single goal of trying to be helpful. And a lot of people put out content with the single goal of, I want someone to hire me. Well, eventually that will happen, of course, but ultimately your content is going to be a lot better and is really going to serve you better if for every piece of content you put out, there is a real value that people will get. The second issue is complexity. And, unfortunately, lots of us just don't do a particularly good job of explaining what our solution is. It sounds kind of vague when we explain it, and people get nervous when they hear vague solutions. They don't know whether it is going to be, going to serve them well, and more importantly, it sounds less too complicated. So you have to be able to explain what you do in a way that people get it. The easiest way to do that is to break it down into a series of steps. Let's just use arbitrarily 4 to 7 steps. First you do this, then we do that, then we do that, and the end result is we have solved the particular problem. A quick example is I've written 8 books. Some of them have done really well, some of them, put it kindly, not so much. One of my best-selling books was a book called The 1 Week Marketing Plan. And the reason why that book did so well is it took what people inherently think of as being very complicated, which is a marketing system, and broke it down into 5 easily digestible steps. People got it. People felt that, yeah, hey, I can do this. And it took the complexity out. You can do the same thing. Third is price. Price is always the easiest to address because You can link price to the cost savings that someone will get or the increase in revenue. And it can make the investment in you relatively, I mean, it can be very justifiable and affordable. If it doesn't lend itself to this cost saving or price increase, let's say you're a personal development coach, then of course what you want to do in your content pieces is to really emphasize the positive outcome, how their life will be so much better if they solve these problems. So, content distribution, content creation really eliminates all of the issues that people have about working with you. Now, that brings us to the final part, which is your free consultation. Most every coach and consultant offers one. The problem is that if you offer it too early in the process, people will get nervous. You haven't built that credibility yet. So what they think, understandably and justifiably, is that this is just going to be a disguised sales pitch. That's the reason why you want to offer the free consultation later rather than earlier in your marketing or sales cycle. Because if you do that, if you offer it later after they've had an opportunity to digest and consume your content, then it really does wind up being a conversation about how the two of you can help each other. And what you'll also find is that an extremely high percentage of those conversations do turn into paying clients. So if you hate sales like I do, think about this kind of system which focuses around content creation and content distribution. And if you do that and if you set it up and then you offer your free consultation, you'll find that you'll get as many great clients as you want without ever really having to sell anybody on anything. So I hope you found this helpful. And as always, I hope I have the chance to meet with you or talk with you personally sometime in the near future. But until then, this is Mark Satterfield. Bye for now.